Want to greet your guests in style this Easter? Hi, welcome to another video. Today we're going to make these two whimsical and fun Easter front door projects. An orange carrot made of tulips and this panorama egg wreath. So let's get started. So this first door hanger is a carrot made from tulips. And this was inspired by a high-end catalog. They had this beautiful carrot tulip door wreath that was selling for over $200. And I thought, I could probably make that. It's actually really simple. I bought this pack of 30 tulips from Amazon for about $20, and I'll try to link this in the description below. So with my $20 worth of orange tulips, I'm just going to start laying it out and playing with it. And I came up with a really easy and fun way to do the carrot wreath. So you're going to need 30 tulips. Actually, you just need 28, but I bought a pack of 30 tulips for about $20 on Amazon. You're going to need ribbon to make a big bow like this. Doesn't matter what you choose. At first, I was going to do a fresh apple green ribbon and decided to do the black and white because my door is black. And some kind of greenery for the carrot top. I found the closest greenery to a carrot top that I could find at Hobby Lobby. And this is like some kind of a fern, artificial fern, and it's $6.99 for a sprig like this. And I have 2 sprigs. I actually bought this for less than $6.99 because you know how everything's like either 40 or 50% off every other week. So this was actually half of $6.99, so $7.50 for one of these, and I have 2 of these. So I have 2 sprigs of greenery, a large ribbon, and 30 orange tulips. You're also going to need some wire and some floral tape, or you could do this whole thing with wire. I like to bunch things together with floral tape because it kind of gives a little, and I'm so used to working with it, doing corsages, boutonnieres, bouquets, that I just love using floral tape. But if you don't have floral tape, wire would be fine. This is a spool wire, which is wonderful for using on crafts, to make ribbons and bows, as well as in the garden. So I'm never without this. Okay, so what we're going to start with are 3 tulips. We're going to start from the bottom to the top. So what you're going to do is place 2 tulips at the same height, like this, even, and then 1 at the tip for 3. So this is a trio. That's going to be the very bottom of your wreath right here. That's going to be the tip of your carrot. And what you're going to do is tape that in place. Just use your floral tape and tape it in place. And great thing with these artificial tulips is you can always bend it to however you want it. And make sure that that top tulip is above the other 2 so you have a real tip. And then you just hold it and tape it in place. And because I'm using this pale green floral tape, it blends so well with the foliage. If you see a little bit at all peeking out, it's not going to be noticeable. We're not going to have it peek out, but still, it's just nice to have this be the same color, right? And it's nice and neat. Nice and neat, okay? Your second tier of your carrot, you're going to take 3 tulips again, but this time you are going to have bind them together flat like this. And you don't have to do it. You want to have it firm but flat if possible, so that the tulips will lay flat. But you could always, adjust it. So here's your second tier of tulips, 3 across. So you've got 2 across with 1 on top in 1, 3 across. And that's how we're going to do it. And then we're going to do 4 across. So now I'm going to take 4 tulips, all even at the same height, like this. Bind it again with the floral tape or wire. I'm kind of taping it flat, but even if they're bunched up, you can always kind of pull them apart and splay them apart. And then you make that flat. That's going to be your 3rd tier on your carrot. So you just keep doing this. The next tier, we're just going to have 5 tulips across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure they're even. It's going to get a little harder the more tulips you have, because the more tulips you have, you know, the more stems you have down here, and it's harder to keep it flat. But you don't have to keep it totally flat down here. Even if they bunch up, we can flatten them out a little bit. That's another reason why I prefer using the tape over the wire, because the tape, you know, gives a little bit. It stretches a little bit. It's like a paper tape with sticky wax on it that sticks to itself. It's called Floral tape, and I'll link in the description below all these supplies so that if you're home, you don't have access to a flower market, you can buy most of this on Amazon. And they're all very useful in floral design, you know, beyond this project. So you're not buying a whole bunch of wire and tape, you know, just to use one time, okay? So see how this kind of got bunched up, but you can press it out like this. So there are 5 tulips together. So we're just gonna keep doing this. Okay, so I'm done taping, preparing all the sprigs of tulips. So what we ended up with were the first initial tip tulip, right? The 2 even ones with 1 on top, the 3 across, 4 across the top, the same like even, 5 across, spread evenly, 6 across, and 7 across, and that is 28 tulips we use. So we ran out because we have 30 tulips, but I think we have enough definitely to make a carrot. So the next technique I'm going to show you is really a lot like how we make greenery garlands. Now, I usually don't make garlands myself. There are greens people at the flower market that will make garlands for you because it's really labor intensive. But in this case, it's a small project. We can do it because often when we do weddings and we need to buy garland, we need to buy like 30, 40, 50 feet of garland. And I don't think I want to sit there and make garland. So that's when your wire comes in. So you cut a length of wire, and then you lay this tip tulip down, and then you put the next bunch of tulips with just 3 over it. And then you just bind it. You want to overlap enough so that you don't see the tape, and also you want it to cover the first layer, if that makes sense. Okay, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See? Okay, my next one is going to be the bunch I made with 4 tulips. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4. Going to lay that flat. That's our next layer. You kind of just want to have it just, you know, right below the layer you just did. Cut a length of wire, and then you tie it on here. So it's really easy. It's just like making a garland. That's how we do garlands. You do little sprigs of greenery, you know, multiple little bunches of greenery, and then you tie them together like this, overlapping. Okay. Now I'm going to go for the one with 5 tulips because we just did the 4. And when you put it on there, it doesn't have to be perfect because we are going to kind of manipulate it a little bit when we're all done. You just bind it on there. Super easy. It's a great technique. Now you know how to do garlands, right? You don't have to, I mean, usually garlands will not be graduated like this, you know, from wide to skinny. But if you had equal size sprigs of, say, baby's breath and greenery, then you could make a beautiful spring garland. That's the technique. The next is going to be our bunch of tulips with 6. Lay that right on here. And you can start to see that we kind of have like a triangular V-shaped carrot going on. That's what we're going for. This is a really easy and fun door hanger that's a little different than a wreath, right? Fun for Easter. And you could kind of see it from far away. Like sometimes you have these beautifully intricately designed wreaths, but you can't really see it unless you're standing right in front of it, all the details. This is kind of like a graphic pattern with bright colors so it could be seen from far away. And our last bunch of tulips with the 7 tulips across. Okay, lay that over the 6. And that's our last layer of tulips. Now, if you want a much bigger tulip, you keep going. You could buy, more orange tulips. But I think this is big enough because once you add in the ribbon and the greenery, you have a pretty good size door hanger. But you could definitely go bigger. And you could just keep going. You could go 8, 9, 10. You have a carrot like much, much bigger than what I'm making. But I figured this is good. $20 worth of tulips and then some inexpensive other materials will get you a really cute wreath. And then you'll have these materials to use in the future, or this is an easy to store door decor. Unlike a wreath, it's hard to store wreaths, right? For all the different holidays. I kind of just remake mine, for each holiday so that I don't have to store lots of wreaths and things. So this one actually would be easy to store because it's not so big. These tulips are pretty nice quality. It's that real touch tulip. I'm surprised it's like $20 for 30 tulips. So it's less than $1 a tulip. So that's what we have right now. We got our carrot part, okay? And then you could always go back in and kind of place it more perfectly and bend the heads, a little bit if they don't lay flat. And then this is super easy. All we're gonna do is attach this to the top like this, okay? And I'm not even going to cut these apart. These sprigs are perfect. All I did was kind of flatten it out. I will take the price tag off. And these little mossy fern sprigs are very versatile. I could see using this for lots of different things in the future. And it's very realistic looking. It looks a lot like the foliage on a carrot. And that's why I chose it. So we kind of have these two kind of overlapping to have a nice big sprig. I'm going to turn around to make sure it looks right. Now, we want to have a big bow made for the transition because you're going to have a transition. Because what we're going to do is hide the stems of the tulips with this greenery. So the greenery is going to sit kind of high up here. And then here you've got kind of a weird area, but that's okay. Just put your bow here. And I'm just going to tie these 2 sprigs of greenery on top of our tulip carrot. So see, very easy. We have our carrot. Now we've got this kind of ugly area where you can see the wire and it's a weird transition. That's why I made this big bow. We're just going to put a bow right over that transition. And then with the leftover little bit of wire back here that I affixed the bow with, I'm going to make a loop, and that will be your hanger to hang onto your wreath hanger or hook or whatever you have on your front door for hanging things. So using the ribbon, the wire from the ribbon, I just made a little loop like this, okay? Now I'm going to turn it around and make sure that, everything's in place and nothing is weird. You want to make sure each tier is wider than the tier below it for that, really good carrot look. And then because it's artificial, you can always push things into place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And here we have our cute novelty carrot door hanger for Easter. Super easy, and it costs less than $30. The second project is a wreath decor that I wanted to make that was a little different than the typical wreath where you have flowers all around the wreath. I wanted to have a little vignette or story, kind of like a panorama egg, and that's what inspired me to do this wreath for you today. we're going to use this oval egg-shaped wreath I bought at Hobby Lobby. This was very inexpensive. It was $8.99 for a very nice large grapevine wreath. And the best thing is it's an oval, so we can use it like an Easter egg shape, right? And then on top of this, I'm going to add 2 garlands of baby's breath. These are faux baby's breath garlands that I bought online, I think on one of those inexpensive websites like Temu or somewhere like that. And they are, I want to say, maybe like 48 inches or so, about like 5 feet or so, maybe 60-inch wreaths, 60-inch garlands. I just thought this was really pretty, and then we're just going to use it as a base for our wreath. What I'm going to do is just wind it around the wreath. I'm going to start at the top of the wreath, just to kind of tuck in the top of, there's like a little hanger thing for that. I'm just going to tuck that in, and then I'm just going to wind it around our wreath. I think I just want it wound around and not just lying on top, because I want that 3-dimensionality. So we're just kind of weaving it in and out, winding it around the wreath. I think it's really pretty to have this greenery that's airy and light over this natural grapevine wreath. So that's what I'm going for. We're just going to wind it around and around. And my goal is to kind of just cover half of the wreath with one garland and the other half with the other garland. And there are a lot of reasons for doing this. First of all, I want some greenery on the wreath, but I wanted it airy and springy. So I thought this baby's breath wreath kind of just fits the bill. It's perfect. And also, when you've got some volume like this, it's easier to add in other materials on top. Okay, so that's about half of the wreath covered. We're going to go ahead and do the other half. I'm just going to tuck the end into the wreath. Little pieces like this will fall off. Okay, we're going to do the other side. Same technique. Start from the top, thread it through. And then you can wire that in place later. But you know, it's so sticky, it kind of grabs onto it, you almost don't need to wire it. Because the little baby's breath, the faux baby's breath's got little notches on there, the grapevine kind of grabs onto it, so it's actually really easy to use. And it's actually hard to take it off. And this oval wreath could be beautiful, you know, used in other contexts. So it's not just for Easter. And I often recycle my wreaths just because I don't want to store so many wreaths, right? So that's what we have right now. We've got our grapevine wreath covered with baby's breath. It's kind of airy and light, but it's no longer just all brown, right? And then I've got some cute things I bought from Hobby Lobby, and also just some faux flowers I had lying around that I thought would be pretty in here. So my goal is to sort of like do a little vignette with a bunny. Remember this guy from our video, our video maybe two weeks ago when we had this in a 3-tier tray? I'm going to recycle this bunny in here. This bunny was, I think, about $5 at Hobby Lobby. I think it was $8.99, 40% off, something like that. So about $5. And then we have these bunch of carrots that I believe were $7.99, 40% off, so like also less than $5 in this raffia. I love this carrot, it's so cute. So we're going to glue the carrot here and the bunny here. They're going to be at the bottom of our wreath. So next we're going to add the bunny to the bottom of the wreath. I want him to sit down here. Now, I don't know if there's enough contact behind, you know, the bottom of the bunny with the wreath. I'm afraid that if I just glued it, it'll just fall off. So what we're going to do is make a pick on the bunny. I'm going to use these wooden picks that you see me use all the time. I just kind of cut the wire off. You're going to impale your poor little bunny with the pick. And then you're going to cut it down a little shorter, maybe about 2 inches, maybe a little less, so that you can impale him onto your wreath. and just kind of find a good place, where, you know, in between the different grapevine branches that you can kind of stick them in. So we've added our bunny right here. He's really cute, right? Sitting at the bottom. And then I'm going to add the bunch of carrots over here. Now I'm trying to think if the carrots, because of the rough material, if it could just glue right on here, or if I need to tie it down. I have some jute here because since the carrots are bound with jute, I figure I have some jute. I can always tie more jute on here and it'll look fine stylistically. So I might do that because I feel like the carrot might not stay with just hot glue. Let's try the hot glue first. If it doesn't stay, then we'll add the jute and bind it onto the grapevine wreath. So let's go ahead and put some glue on the carrot, hot glue. And add it onto our wreath. And then sometimes it's hard to know where the points of contact are, so you can always go back in and add some glue where your carrot is touching your wreath. Seems to have attached pretty well on our wreath. I'm just going to hold it there for a moment. So you've got your cute little bunch of carrots and your little bunny standing there. And then I'm just going to add some flowers. So these flowers I had just in, you know, my collection of things. These are some orange tulips. I'm making lots of these door wreaths, you know, so these are some leftover, the orange tulips. I have some of these blue salvia looking things. I don't know if it's lavender or salvia. It looks like blue salvia to me. And some white lisianthus that are very realistic looking. The white lisianthus, and a few sprigs of lily of the valley. So I wanted some flowers that look kind of like meadow flowers because we're doing a spring Easter wreath, right? So I wanted to, you know, I didn't want to use gigantic roses and things like that or peonies. I wanted kind of like a meadow look. And instead of doing the flowers all around the wreath, I wanted to make like a little arrangement kind of behind the bunny so that you could see through the egg shape of your wreath and see like a little, almost like the flowers are growing out of a meadow behind the bunny. So I'm going to add the tall pieces first. These are the blue salvia. I thought this would be really pretty, contrasting with the orange carrot and with the whites. And then we're going to just add it in like this, okay? So you're just going to kind of do like a little arrangement. And you could bend these, of course, because they are artificial. And they're quite realistic looking for, you know, artificial flowers. And then we're just going to put a little glue at the bottom. And just stick it into the wreath behind the bunny. Just want to do something a little different. Instead of, you know, big giant flowers all around the wreath, let's do some flowers inside the wreath. Like a little, like almost like a little picture, right? Like a little picture. Like a diorama egg or something, but within an egg-shaped wreath. So I'm adding these long blue salvia to one side here. And because I want it to look like it's growing, we're adding it in bunches because, you know, flowers don't grow one tulip, one lily of the valley, one lisianthus, right? They grow in kind of bunches. And then I'm just using the wreath base almost like foam, right? You can just stick it right in there. And that's why I'm using kind of lightweight, small flowers for this. Plus I wanted that look of a natural meadow. So this would be really cute. Okay, added the blue here. Thought I add some lysianthus. I have a couple of longer stem lysianthus. So we're gonna go do the same. Just put a little glue at the bottom of your faux flower and pick kind of skinny stemmed ones so that you could just kind of glue it in between the grapevine wreath, the slots. I'm gonna go kind of behind the bunny. Do it here. Another long one. It's like a little lysianthus bud. They're so realistic, right? Okay, got the lysianthus added. Let's see if I want to add these. I'm going to just pick these because I'm not sure if we're going to use all of them. Some pretty Lily of the Valley bunches. These are so cute. My favorite flower, one of my favorite flowers, Lily of the Valley. Okay, figure we can add this at the base here. I'm going to cut these a little shorter. Kind of behind your little bunny's butt. And Lily of the Valley, if these were growing in the wild, would be one of the shorter flowers, right? So we're going to add it in kind of short right here. You know, I tried to grow Lily of the Valley. I bought 30 pips last year. Not one came up. And then I read online all the time about people on the East Coast fighting Lily of the Valley as an invasive weed. Please send me some of your weeds. Okay. Okay, we've got the Lily of the Valley added in. We got the lysianthus. Do we need another lysianthus maybe here? That might be pretty. I don't know. Or maybe over here. Yeah, maybe over there. Okay. I'm going to add the rest of our lysianthus maybe down here, like where the carrot is. Just because I have just 2 little pieces left, and I figure, okay, we might as well add that into our wreath, right? Then we're going to add in our carrots. I'm still thinking about the last video. We're going to add in our little tulips. Okay. I'm going to add it kind of tall because it's kind of in here. Okay. Okay, we're all done. We have the cute kind of Easter wreath inspired by like an Easter egg diorama with our cute little bunny in the middle with his carrots in a meadow of flowers. This is a really sweet little thing to put on your door for Easter. So these two projects were really fun and easy to do and not very expensive. I hope I inspired you to make something whimsical to decorate your front door this Easter. As always, please like and subscribe. Click the little bell to be notified when I put out a new video. Happy Easter to you and your family, and I will see you in my next video.